It's time to dive into the meaning of the Eight of Wands with how our protagonist feels. Let's go over the suits. So we've got cups, pentacles, swords, and wands. Then let's go over the elements: earth, air, fire, and water. Wands is associated with the element of fire, which is associated with our creative energies, our aspirations, and our passions. So with fire, we know that fire is hot. We know that fire is warm. We know that fire can be explosive and it can also be destructive. So with how our protagonist feels, I feel like there is a warmth around how they feel, probably a little bit more of a hot-headedness. What I kind of first saw in the first video that we were doing this is the volcano. Volcanoes are very unexpected. They explode unexpectedly. I I think scientists have figured out how they can kind of gauge when that is about to happen, but I don't know that this character knows that. They probably, when things go wrong in their lives, in their life, they probably explode unexpectedly. Now, that does kind of throw a little wrench in our how the character spoke and communicate because it was the King of Swords. With the King of Swords, this character speaks with maturity. They choose their words wisely. They want to get their point across clearly. I actually wonder if they speak clearly after practice. They have speeches written for them that they can speak things clearly that way. They practice before they have a big moment. But in the moment of passion, in the moment of when something is going wrong, they probably go off the cuff. They probably go a little rogue and they have not figured out how to bring in their passion and bring in their feelings to let it override what the actual mission is or what the responsibility is at the current time of whatever the character is going to be doing for the story. We can also go into the numbers of the tarot. Remember how in the tarot a journey begins at the ace and the journey ends at the 10. We are at the number 8 here, so that means we're past the midpoint. We're not quite to the end yet. So I actually have a feeling that with how our character feels, I almost feel like this character understands that they do have a tendency to blow up. They understand kind of maybe where they kind of feel before they are about to blow up. They haven't been able to bring themselves in yet, but they understand their feelings a little bit more, again, with probably that maturity that we were talking about with the King of Swords with our last card. But it feels like maybe they're in the middle of past the actual conflict. They know the actual meaning as to why they blow up, but they haven't been able to actually come to terms with come to terms with it yet. Now, another thing to consider about the Eight of Wands is that this means fast movement. This means very fast. I mean, this doesn't look like it's very fast, but there's very fast. It means that sometimes life is kind of going and you're having a hard time catching up. So it's not a slow card, and that sometimes can be stressful. A lot of people also look at these as maybe wands or arrows that have been shot and they are aimed at a specific space to land somewhere specifically as well. But they are flying through the air and it is faster movement. I'm going to keep saying this just because this is what I truly believe, is that if I'm writing a mermaid story, like I'm creating a mermaid character right now, that's literally what I'm doing. I'm using the Mermaid Tarot deck. If I'm doing that, I'm not going to use the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith because this card does nothing for me. This card is hard to read, especially also this card. This is the Eight of Wands from also the Egyptian tarot. This is the Eight of Wands from the Edgar Allan Poe tarot. They all have different feels. I actually also I did this specifically for this as well. I don't really like these kind of cards just because, well, I know this card is probably fine just because that's just what the card is. But on this deck, it's called a pip deck. And a pip deck is when all of the minor arcana cards have more or less pictures that look like this. Not like this, not like this. They're just 8 wands, 7 swords, 3 pentacles. It doesn't do much for me creatively. So I really like it when the tarot cards, all 78 cards, have a picture involved with them. I just really recommend that you find a tarot deck that matches the world that you're creating. It's totally fine if you want to use these. I'm not saying don't use these. I'm just saying that specifically when I'm creating a mermaid character or when I'm creating a dragon character or a vampire character, there are mermaid, dragon, and vampire tarot decks that I can use that get me more involved into the world that way. Please join me in the next video where we're going to combine all three of these videos into one coherent thought piece about how this protagonist feels. Remember, if you want to see the spread, please go to the description box. If you are wanting to follow along, more than welcome to do so by using the cards that I'm pulling. If you are pulling your own cards, please drop them in the comments because I would love to see what protagonist you are creating and also what tarot decks I want to add to my collection. Please remember to interact with this video so that I remain in your feed, and I will see you in the next one.